Good afternoon. According to the UNHCR, 70.8 million people are forcibly displaced worldwide. Among them, nearly 25.9 million are under the age of 18. Every year, millions of people are forced to flee their countries, cities, villages, sometimes leaving behind their loved ones with no insurance to see them alive again, hug them, and share good moments with them. They leave everything without knowing what their journey will be. They are living heavy-hearted but expecting to survive. As for every human being, hope is the main thing that holds them alive. My name is Naky Gaglo. I come from Togo, a very beautiful country of the Western Africa called back in the days the Switzerland of Africa, given its size, its natural beauty, its cleanliness, its young and dynamic population, and the many business opportunities. During 38 years, it has been ruled by a dictator until 2005 and ruled by his son from 2005 until now. During the 90s, a democratic revolution started to move the country, provoking social and political troubles and its first major crisis. In October 5th, 1990, I was in the primary school. One normal day until, while we were in the classroom, we started hearing gunshots. But as a kid and with no conscience, you don't realize what is going on until you start seeing panic around you. The peaceful atmosphere you always experience in your school changed completely. Everything messed up. Teachers didn't know what to do with the hundred of children they had under their responsibility. Children started to run in every direction, crying, screaming, and teachers completely lost the control of the situation. It didn't last long when many parents rushed to the school, knocking at the gates because they wanted to pick up their children. No one came to pick me, and I was living more than 3 miles away. So I had to take the risk to get home alone. Out of the school, the city was like a ghost city, no soul outside. The whistle of bullets became a swish and patter. I could hear some explosion close and far, here and there, smokes in the sky and dead bodies in my sight every time I was walking. A scary and horrible vision scene for a child I was. Fortunately, I could make it home where I was anxiously expected by my aunt and my cousins. At that specific moment, I realized the importance of being home and surrounded by family. This situation lasted long and caused despair and sadness in many families. Tens of victims were registered. The military-backed terror campaign intensified in late 1992, culminating in the massacre of hundreds of civilians in Lomé in January 1993, and in a mass exodus of people to Benin and Ghana in significant numbers as they became the target of the power. We were in real danger. And the only solution was the exile. My family and I packed the minimum we could and headed up to the western border. A few hours later, we crossed the Ghanaian border and found refuge in the closest city called Aflao. About 300,000 people fled the country. During a year and a half, our lives seemed to have fallen apart. Conditions were poor. No latrine, lack of food sometimes, difficult access to clean water. We could not go to school. and have lost the academic year. But we survived it thanks to people that opened us their arms and gave us hope. One day, my parents decided to take us back home, hoping things were better. It was a risk, but home is home. My name is Naky Gaglo, living and working in Portugal, and that is my story. Like me, many other people went through different situations. Tresor Mahamba is from the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Trésor Mahamba. Je viens de la République démocratique du Congo. En 2015, je fuis mon pays suite à une manifestation contre les pouvoirs en place qui, par la suite, nous recherchaient. Après mon départ, mon petit frère s'est fait arrêter et je suis passé par les Congo-Brazzaville pour arriver à Libye. Arrivé à Libye, je fais 3 mois de prison et plus de 2 fois même. Et à la fin de compte, on a réussi à en traverser. On était accosté à Malte. Et depuis 2019, mois de février, je suis arrivé au Portugal où je vis et je travaille actuellement dans une entreprise comme conseiller clientèle. C'est un peu mon histoire. Je vous remercie.
Ahmed Hussein is from Sudan.
Hello, my name is Ahmed Hussein Jablia. I am from Sudan. I left my country in 2017. In that time, I was a student, and I left my country because we have a very, very dictatorial leadership, and sometimes we have armed conflicts. Through my journey, I went through many countries like the Chad and Libya and Malta. In 2017, I spent almost 2 weeks in the ocean before they came to rescue us. And now, for more than 2 years, I lived in Portugal and I work here in Portugal. This is my story.
Stories like this have much in common: suffering, surviving, dreaming. However, stories of refugees don't always have a happy ending. Thinking about refugees, I believe there are two important questions everyone should consider. First, is it the status of being a refugee exclusive to some people? Every refugee was born free, as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights says in its first article. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. According to the Amnesty International and Global Citizen, the reason why people became or become refugees are religious or social or racial or political persecution, violence, war, hunger, extreme poverty, sexual or gender orientation, climate change, or other natural disaster. Often, people will face a combination of all these difficulties. A throwback in the history shows how people forcibly left their places for another one, seeking for a better life for one of the reasons above mentioned. No matter the color, origin, gender, religion, sexual orientation, social situation, no one is safe. No one is immune. Any of us can see our situation changed overnight. The second question that came in mind is, what do you think of refugees? There are so many ways to the common misconception that depicts refugees. Either they are considered parasites, invaders, robbers, enemies, subhuman, instead of simple human beings. Unfortunately, these stereotypes are spread in some medias, politicians, and public figures. But we totally ignore that refugees have more to give than we perceive. Today, Ahmed and Tresor are living in Portugal. They are working and contributing to the country. They are giving back the chance or the opportunity they got. Like many, they don't ask much. They just want a way to survive and be considered human being. The trauma caused by this unpredicted situation of life is hard to bear. These are pages of life that are not easy to turn unless one is shown love, humanism, compassion, and hope. Just imagine yourself in their situation for a second. What would you expect? Today, you can be on the right side of, of history and become the voice of the refugees' cause. Make the refugee feel home as you wish to be feel welcomed. We must stop considering refugees as enemies. We must stop seeing refugees as a financial burden for host countries. We cannot continue seeing refugees as the reason of a high unemployment rate. We must stop spreading the hatred of refugees. Refugees deserve respect. Respect for refusing to give up and do the best they can to survive. Many refugees come with knowledge and experience and with a full dedication to learn new skills. They have productive capacity and assets, and they actively interact with host country economies. They tend to do the best they can to rebuild their lives. Refugees are a positive force in human development. If they are given chances to jobs, they can help to fill gaps in the labor market. Jobs provide refugees an opportunity not only to rebuild their lives, but also to become financially independent, reach their personal goal, build social networks, contribute to the economy of the community in empowering ways. Refugees also bring many social cultural diversity that is seen in a more positive light. Julia Stevenson says on this matter, we have a legal and moral obligation to protect people fleeing bombs, bullets, and tyrants. And throughout history, those people have enriched our society. This is definitely a way to create a better world, a world we are all dreaming of, a world where humanity will prevail, a world where we can all come as one. This world is in your hands. It's in the hand of you and me, and it costs nothing. The capacity of reaching this will come from our capacity to see in the same direction with the goal to make each other better and happy. Now to end, I would like to share a poem from Varsonshire. The title is Home. No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark. You only run for the border when you see the whole city running as well. Your neighbors running faster than you, breath bloodily in their throats. The boy who went to school with you, who kissed you, dizzy behind the old tin factory, is holding a gun bigger than his body. You only leave home when home won't let you stay. No one leaves home unless home chases you. Fire under feet, hot blood in your belly. It is not something you ever thought of doing until the blade burned thread in your neck. And even then, you carried the anthem under your breath, only tearing up your passports in an airport toilet, sobbing as each mouthful of paper made it clear that you wouldn't be going back. You have to understand that no one puts their children in a boat until the water is safer than the land. No one burns their palm under trains. Beneath carriage, no one spends days and nights in the stomach of a truck feeding on newspaper unless the miles travel means something more than journey. No one crawls under fences. No one wants to be beaten, pitied. No one chooses refugee camps or strip searches where your body is left aching, or prison, because prison is safer than a city of fire. And one prison guard in the night is better than a truckload of men who look like your father. No one could take it. No one could stomach it. No one's skin would be tough enough. The go home blacks, refugees, dirty immigrants, asylum seekers, sucking our countries dry, niggers with their hands out, they smell strange, savage, mess up the country, and now they want to mess ours up. How do the words, the dirty looks, roll off your back? Maybe because the blow is softer than a limb torn off, or the words are more tender than 14 men between your legs, or the insults are easier to swallow than rubble, than bone, than your child's body in pieces. I want to go home, but home is the mouth of a shark. Home is the barrel of the gun, and no one would leave home unless home chased you to the shore, unless home told you to quicken your legs, leave your clothes behind, crawl through the deserts, wade through the oceans, drown, save, be hunger, beg, forget pride. Your survival is more important. No one leaves home until home is a sooty voice in your ear saying, leave. Run away from me now. I don't know what I've become, but I know that anywhere is safer than here. Thank you.